All right, guys. So, step 3 in the process. At this point, you've done your Black Death DBQ. You have then chosen your modern pandemic article and broken that down as well. And you've got like a ton of quotes you're ready to use. So, let's see how we can start organizing our thoughts. The other day, I loaded in a pandemic essay template that's rainbow full of colors. This is a way to step by step break down where you're going to be using each quote and how it might apply. So let's look this over. It's a basic 5 paragraph essay template. The yellow breaks down how to do the introduction paragraph, which I'll go over in just a sec. You've got 3 body paragraphs that are going to be based around 3 different theme questions. These are the same ones that come off of the like rubric sheet that's right here in this folder. And it's also something that I think I've showed many of you guys many times. These are the 3 different theme questions. So each paragraph, you'll just be using the Black Death to compare to your modern pandemic and answering those questions for each one. So, for instance, in paragraph 2, how do pandemics spread internationally? All right, well, what did you learn about how the Black Death spread to so many countries? And then what did you learn about how a modern pandemic is spreading? How have we learned that coronavirus spread so fast? Okay, this is where you're going to be using all of your quote information, either from the DBQ or your modern article. And that goes the same for the other body paragraphs. Most of your 500 words, and you can go more than 500 words, of course, is going to come from just using the quotes that have already been given to you to tell the story. Um, your intro, you start with the hook, just something quick and interesting to get the reader's attention. So the example that I gave here, asking a question. Have you ever heard of social distancing? Have you ever heard of flattening the curve? You could just say something like a shocking quote like, um, 2 weeks ago I was still in school and now 20,000 people have died. I'm living through the coronavirus outbreak. Life will never be the same. Something like that. Like it's going to shock the reader and get their attention. You just introduce the topic, which is that we're going to compare and contrast the Black Death to a modern day pandemic. And this is then also where you're going to cite your sources. You want to tell us up front that you're going to be quoting from other people's work and other headlines, and that this is not your words. It's important to do that because if you don't, it's considered plagiarizing. And if I run your essay through like a plagiarizing check thing online, it'll pop up into showing me like if you're using other people's quotes without giving them the credit. So you definitely don't want to do that. Um, and your thesis is just a sentence about what you think the reader is going to learn. So your intro is just like the cover of a book. It's just introducing everything very briefly before you get into the real meat, which is the 3 body paragraphs. Now, in the 3 body paragraphs are where you're going to be using as many quotes while then commenting in your own voice. So, for instance, if I wanted to use this quote here about what happened to the city of Siena in Italy, I might think to myself, where does this best apply? And if it best applies to something about how society was changed, then I would like, grab this quote and I might copy and paste it into um, whichever paragraph it fits. So in this case, paragraph 3. And that way you could already start grabbing the quotes that you want to use to keep them in one spot if that helps you to write that way. And you just make sure that you then know that, oh, that quote came from this source, so that when I use that, I want to also be putting in parentheses that it came from this book. So you cite the author, source. You can start typing at the bottom if you prefer to just like start fresh and put your 5 paragraphs down here. Or if it helps you to fill in each paragraph as you go along with quotes and you just drag and drop, then you start formatting it. That also works. Um, I think this is something I explained on my live classes, and hopefully it was able to make a little bit more clear. But this is a template you can follow either step by step, and you just kind of erase my stuff as you go along. So like once you feel like you've got your hook sentence, just erase all this. Or if it helps to just leave this all here, but then start typing down here, that's also fine. But I ask that you do all your copy and pasting or typing on this template because then I can see it and I can give you feedback as you're working on it, as well as you've got the rubric to understand where all the points are going to come from and how I'm going to be grading you. So a big thing to point out is this chunky section here. You using quotes from the Black Death as well as quotes from your modern pandemic is going to be the main cornerstone of this essay. 60 points out of 100. So 20 points for each paragraph is what I should be looking for. Is I can right off the bat tell that you're using the DBQ quotes or the DBQ references to like numbers of people died and not just writing what you think, what you feel. Okay. So you definitely can add in a bit of your own voice, but you want to make sure that you're using the quotes for the most part to tell the story. I'm going to stop the video now because I think it's probably a bit long. Hopefully this is helpful.